This is a video I'm very excited for. This is Dr. Plants. 100 days ago, I built a desert ecosystem, and this happened.
Within this tank lives a miniature
Desert
world. There are predators and prey, wind and rain. This desert is a dangerous place, but despite all odds, some animals have evolved to survive. It transformed from an empty wasteland to a thriving ecosystem. To understand the mysteries within, first, we must go back to day one. It all started when I got the tank, some materials, and a whole lot of cacti. I proceeded to mix up some dirt and then build up the substrate. After placing in some rock, I began to plant the cacti. Ouch! Their spines are extremely sharp, and it was a huge pain to plant anything. I added in some final touches, and the tank was complete.
Oh, that's terrible.
This will serve as the foundation for a thriving ecosystem. On day 3, I introduced the first animals. These are called isopods. As you can see, I have 2 varieties here, clowns and zebras. After I placed them in, they began to search for shelter.
Wait. Isopod. Is an isopod just a roly-poly? I never really put that together. Is an isopod just a roly-poly? If so, man, roly-polies are disgusting. Roly-polies are disgusting. Oh, they are. Bro, isopods, they make me mad uncomfortable. These are kind of okay. But, bro, when they get like this? Oh, hell no. Oh, man, these things are disgusting. Seeing this thing, it also reminds me that thing exists, so it is kind of disgusting still to look at.
Alongside the isopods, I introduced springtails and buffalo beetles. These 2 detrivores will eat pretty much anything they can find.
Wait, what is it? A beetle?
Buffalo beetles. Alongside the isopods, I introduced springtails and buffalo beetles. These 2 detrivores will eat pretty much anything they can find. All of these tiny bugs will eventually be food for a future predator. By day 50, the isopod population began to boom. In the shaded areas of the tank, they would form small little herds. The juveniles looked almost identical to their adult counterpart. Here, you can even see one shedding its skin. While the zebras were thriving, the clowns seemed to have disappeared entirely. On the other hand, the buffalo beetles were taking over. I placed a dead cockroach into the tank to show just how many there were.
Oh.
Soon,
bro, I thought all this wood shit was them. I thought this was just all them. I was like, holy shit.
There were.
There's a good bit though. There's like 6 on them at a time.
Soon, there was nothing left but a hollow skeleton. They were running rampant and I needed a predator. I needed something deadly, something fast, something almost as terrifying as my mother-in-law. Let me introduce you to the
close-up on a scorpion though.
He is a vicious predator and will make short work of a—
I've never got a sight on a scorpion like that. Well, kind of. Not really. Not an alive one. We used to have these things growing up. We may still have them, but they're like globes we'd get from Mexico. And they got like scorpions inside of them, and I used to stare at that face to face. But like this one looks fucking disgusting.
Fast. Something almost as terrifying.
I mean, it almost looks like a spider right there.
As my mother-in-law. Let me introduce you to the dune scorpion. He is a vicious predator and will make short work of a beetle or isopod. Do you see that tiny white drop on his stinger? Well, that is a potent venom, and I have to be extremely careful. I picked him up and prepared to place him into the tank. After a gentle love tap, he took his very first step into the new world. Scorpions are almost completely blind, so they don't use their eyes to get around. Within just a few minutes, he managed to take down a buffalo beetle. With a full stomach, he began to search for a place to burrow. After a few hours, his burrow was complete, and it just looked like an ordinary hole. But if we look underground, we can see it is so much more. It is his home. He would spend most of his time here, but as day turned to night, he would emerge. Under
glows
ultraviolet
so
light, he
bright.
will glow a radioactive green.
Oh, UV. Oh. That's still crazy though.
On day 60, I realized the scorpion wasn't going to be enough. The beetles were breeding faster than the scorpion could eat them. I needed to add competition. Meet the blue death feigning beetle. This is no ordinary bug.
Those look
They have
stinky.
3 superpowers. First off, they make their own sunscreen.
Why do
This
they look
white
fuzzy?
powder on their shell will
Oh.
protect them from the desert sun. Secondly, they have a huge abdomen to store water.
It looks like they're like molding. They're like moldy or they're getting fuzzy. I guess that's just the protective sunscreen dust.
Kind of like a camel, they can last for ages without any water at all. But
Straight
if a predator
molded.
tries to eat them, that's where its 3rd superpower comes into play. They are indestructible. Their thick armor
Tank.
protect them from sandstorms and strong desert winds.
A tank, indeed.
I added them into the tank and immediately, one was making a fatal mistake. He
Oh, no.
wandered towards the scorpion.
He went to the
burrow
home.
and then down inside. He was walking towards
he's
his
dead.
doom.
GG. That guy's gone.
There was a stalemate. The beetle made his move. He tapped the scorpion and then retreated deeper into his burrow. The scorpion gave the beetle a gentle push and then made his journey back to the surface.
Okay.
That was
spared.
a close call.
Okay. The man was
I
spared for the
decided
day.
to let them be overnight.
Okay. Bro, that.
As the sun began to rise,
I thought that was gonna
something
be a war.
extremely rare was about to happen. It was rainy season, and one of the few storms of the entire year was about to commence.
Rain.
The tank began to flood.
Uh oh. The scorpion's gonna drown.
As the storm faded away, animals began to emerge.
Oh,
The
never mind.
rain brought new life to the desert landscape. This rose of Jericho opened its leaves after receiving water.
It looks like a cactus.
By day 63,
Or
the
not, it doesn't look like a cactus. It looks like a... Wait, are they called cactus? Like the onion bloom thingy. It looks like the onion bloom, but it finished blooming.
water area was teeming with life. Hundreds of tiny eggs that lay dormant in the sand
Oh, yeah,
began.
They do call it an onion. They call it an onion, like, fuck. I forgot what they call it at Outback Steakhouse, but they do call it like a cactus bloom, I think it is, at, Texas Roadhouse.
The water area was teeming
That's what it looks
with
like,
life.
though.
Hundreds
It
of
just finished
tiny
opening.
eggs that lay dormant in the sand began to hatch. The pond was swarming with these tiny white dots that were going to become something incredible.
Either that or I'm hungry.
Meanwhile,
It
on
just may
land,
be my
I
hunger.
figured it was time to introduce a new animal. Here is a Mexican jumping bean, and here
What are they?
30 more. These are not what they seem. After I added them in, they began to dance. They seem to roll around mindlessly, but each one is on a mission. Find shelter. They jump to escape the desert heat. It didn't take long for them to huddle under whatever they could find. Now, inside every bean lives a caterpillar. One day, they will emerge into a beautiful little moth.
Wait.
By day 72, life in the water.
Wait, so it's just a Mexican jumping bean? Or what do you call it? Something like that? They're just straight up, like, cocooned caterpillars. I've never known that. That is strange.
But each one is on a mission. Find shelter. They
I
jump
found it weird how they were moving. Like, these slices of apples are straight moving.
to escape the desert heat. It didn't take long for them to huddle under whatever they could find. Now, inside every bean lives a caterpillar. One day, they will emerge into a beautiful little moth. By day 72, life in the water had grown substantially. These little white crustaceans are called fairy shrimp. They glide through the water, filtering out whatever food they could find. In the shadows lived an animal much larger and less delicate than the fairy shrimp. Meet the triop.
The triop.
I put one on my finger so you can get a sense of scale. They look completely prehistoric.
Squishy. What is that?
They look to be thriving now, but there is a problem. Every day, the water level got lower and lower. The desert sun was quickly drying up their little pond.
Uh-oh. They're gonna suffocate.
On day 81, the pond was almost dried up, but life was more active than ever. Many of the triops were carrying bundles of eggs and needed to find a safe place to lay them.
Oh,
Here,
what the
you can see a female carefully digging her nest.
Bro, her whole stomach is like moving though.
She will lay her eggs in this hole, and they
Or is
won't
that her
hatch
legs?
until the following rainy season.
I guess that's
The
their
fairy
legs.
shrimp had also laid their eggs, and their life cycle was reaching the end. Only a few days later, the pond had dried up completely. The Rose of Jericho had closed, and life seemed bare. But after closer inspection,
No more shrimp.
you will notice hundreds of tiny eggs waiting for the next time it rained. Life was
they'll
booming,
be back.
but it was time to introduce
They're
a
children.
new predator.
They'll be
This
back.
animal will easily find her way to the top of the food chain.
Horny frog.
Let me introduce you to the bearded dragon.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. She's way too big for this tank. But I have many more
I forgot a bearded dragon was a thing. I thought it was straight up just like a horned frog, like a TCU thing.
dragon.
Those are cool too.
I'm just kidding. She's way too big for this tank. But I have many more projects on the way, so do me a favor and like this.
Wait, I say it has her own enclosure?
More projects on the way, so do me.
Wait, where'd it go? She has her own enclosure. Maybe lizard enclosure video?
She's way too big for this tank. But I have many more projects on the way, so do me a favor and like this video, subscribe, and I'll be sure to see you
Absolutely.
in the next one.
Oh, absolutely. I'm already subbed. I can leave a like though.
A construction work.
Well, I tried. Anyways, that was a good bit of Dr. Plants. I love those videos. Those are some of my favorite videos to watch over and over again. They make me so happy, satisfied. That's nice.